Uruk. I remember the sun waking behind my walls. Uruk below me, breathing. I was its shepherd, its tyrant, its god. The stones still smell of wet clay and ambition. My shadow swallowed them whole. I walked among my people, and they parted like grain before the scythe. Their fear was my food. The lion hit me like a storm. We rolled through grass wet with blood, his breath hot against my throat. I wore his skin that night, my mother's hands on the altar. Trembling, she prayed to Shamash, while smoke curled between her fingers. She always knew what waited for me. From the sky I saw him first, walking with gazelles, a man shaped from clay and wildness. My heart beat faster. I did not know why. The hunter's eyes held terror when he spoke of him. A creature who drank with beasts, who pulled my traps from the earth like flowers. But Shamhat moved through torchlight, like water. Her eyes promised everything, so I sent her to the wilderness with oil and patience. And when Enkidu saw her reflection in the water, he stepped towards it. For 6 days, 7 nights, the animals fled. He stayed. She taught him bread and beer, clothing and words. His wild heart grew walls. She led him toward me, toward his fate, toward us. He stood before my wedding house, naked and furious. The door was his body, and as the people whispered, the gods were watching. I burst through cedar doors and found my reflection. Same fire, same fury, same hunger. The air between us caught fire. My mother watched us in firelight. 2 suns now. She poured oil on our heads and wept. I pretended not to see, because the cedar forest called to me from the horizon. Green darkness, ancient death, glory and renown. Enkidu said yes without words. We were already gone. Sparks kissed my face in the forge. The axes sang as they took shape. And as I watched, my hands burned. My heart burned more. The river carried us away from everything I knew. Reeds whispered secrets. Enkidu steered us toward our immortality. The forest swallowed light. Trees older than memory pressed close. Something breathed beneath the earth. Something hungry. His roar shattered birds from the canopy. 7 auras shimmered around Humbaba, like sickness made visible. And my blood turned to ice. I looked up at his face and saw death looking back. 7 folds of terror, 1 heart, and we had come to take it. The tree trunk missed my skull by inches. I felt its wind, tasted bark, but kept moving. Enkidu's war cry pulled me forward. The mud welcomed me like a mother. I looked up through blood and saw Shamash's sun break through clouds. A sign, a promise, a lie. 13 winds rose from nowhere. Dust swallowed everything. Humbaba screamed inside the storm. We became shadows hunting shadow. His eyes softened. He begged like a child. The monster became a creature, and then became nothing, broken and unbearable. I almost lowered my axe for pity. Finally, we stood on the mountain as the sun bled orange. The great cedar felled. What we didn't realize was, so had we. So had everything. Stars reflected in black water that night. Enkidu slept. I watched the sky and saw nothing but darkness. Our victory tasted like ash. Uruk threw flowers at our feet. Children sang. I walked through their celebration like a ghost, wearing a king's skin. Ishtar glowed like oil on water. Her voice promised gardens. Her eyes promised thorns. I had heard the stories. I knew better, so I said no. And as her face curdled, spite replaced desire. She smoothed her dress and smiled. A wiser man would have run then, but I did not. The bull fell from heaven like a dying star, all fire and lapis lazuli, Anu's vengeance, wearing hooves and horns. The ground screamed when it landed. Buildings swayed. My city, my home, cracked around me. We ran toward it anyway. Its eyes found me. Gold fire, pure hatred. I raised my axe and thought of nothing. Enkidu stood beside me. That was enough. We danced with death in the market square. He dodged. I leaped. The bull's back was hot beneath me. I held on. Enkidu grabbed its tail and drove his sword deep. Blue blood fountained. We were covered in heaven's wound. Alive at last. Truly alive. The bull fell slow. Mountains of flesh meeting earth. Dust rose like a second city as the people cheered. We stood silent, but that night Enkidu burned. Fever took him while I watched. I wiped his forehead, and as he smiled, I died a little. He saw the underworld behind his eyes. Demons danced in sweat on his skin. I held his hand and prayed to gods who do not listen. Dawn came. His eyes stayed open, empty, still. The sun touched his face like a kiss, and I screamed until my throat bled. I curled against his chest and waited for him to breathe. When he didn't, the world shrank to the space where his heart once beat. I walked through Uruk, tearing my clothes. My people stared. Let them. My brother was dead. The city meant nothing to me now. The desert took me. Endless sand, endless sky. I walked until my feet forgot walls, forgot thrones, forgot everything but grief. Scorpion men blocked the mountain pass. I fought because fighting was easier than thinking. Their claws sang against my axe. In the pass, the tunnel swallowed me. Absolute darkness. My torch showed nothing. I walked toward something I could not name, yet I walked anyway. Light broke like a fever. Jewels grew on trees as the garden of the gods blinded me. I wept and could not say why. Siduri watched from afar, and then watched as the waves broke between us. Her eyes held pity older than Uruk. I told her everything and she listened. That was mercy. Days passed. She spoke of peace, of simple joys, of going home. But I could not hear her. I needed more. I needed him. So on the black water, with no reflection, Urshanabi pulled us toward eternity. The silence pressed like stones. I did not breathe until land rose. Utnapishtim sat in light that had no source, ancient, impossible. He looked at me and saw every king who would ever beg. I knelt, I pleaded. I told him of Enkidu, of grief, of fear. His face held mountains, his eyes held oceans. He said nothing. He showed me water rising, an ark building, the world drowning, his family weeping. I saw survival. I did not see peace. Rain fell for 40 days, and the world became ocean. He floated while everything he knew died. Of loss, I understood nothing. A dove flew, returned, flew again, then did not return. Hope is just another name for waiting, it seems. He waited. I waited still. Stay awake 7 days, he said. I sat. I tried, exhaustion wrapping me like a mother. In the end, I slept. Of course I slept. I dreamed of Enkidu. He was running with gazelles, young, whole, happy. I tried to follow, but my legs, they would not move. And in my dreams, 7 loaves, 7 days. Utnapishtim pointed. I had failed the smallest test. Immortality had slipped through my fingers like water from a stone. In the final test, when I woke, the plant of youth glowed in my hands. Hope, small and green. I held it carefully, too carefully. I always hold too carefully. Thirst had taken me. As I bent to drink, thirst was to be my distraction. The snake moved like dark water and took my hope. It took everything as I watched it go. I lunged in haste, but too late. The snake slithered away, shedding skin. It wore my immortality now. I fell to my knees, for the first time, defeated. The well showed me my face, broken in ripples. Nothing left. No brother, no plant, no hope, just water and reflection. I walked home. The desert and lands stretching forever. My shadow led the way as I followed it like a stranger follows a stranger. Uruk rose from the horizon. My walls, my city, my people, they did not know I had died and returned empty. I stood on the wall that night. Stars wheeled above, and below, thousands slept. My city breathed, my walls held. This would have to be enough. I, Gilgamesh, built these walls. I loved my brother. I learned to let go. Only the stars remember as I do. And now, so will you.
No pressure. Just know that every like, sub, and bell resurrects a forgotten god. Your click summons their voice. Comment the god you saved. This is Epic Mythos Unveiled. Thanks for watching.